All right, all right, all right. We are back. I'm going to pretend like I didn't just bang my elbow against my desk. Ooh, it's that funny bone action. Back again for another Monday Night Live every Monday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I jump on, I talk mortgage, I talk real estate, I answer any and all questions you can throw at me. So, as we always do, just play it by ear. And as people jump on and ask their mortgage questions, whether they're in contract and they have questions about what's going on with the current process, whether they're thinking about buying in 3 to 6 months, whether you're a fellow loan officer that's come across some funky stuff and you want my take on it as somebody who knows a thing or two, because I've seen a thing or two. All questions welcome. I appreciate everybody who jumps on here week after week. Continue to have really good conversations around mortgage, around real estate, around the real estate market. There's varying opinions on a bunch of different things, and I'm as open-minded as they come. I want to hear everyone's views, even the ones that might be opposed to mine. Today, I tried to watch some videos that went against some things that I think, just because why not, right? Let's get some input for some people who think differently, see what they've got to say. Some people who are, I would say, bearish on the housing market when I'm probably more of a bull. Big fan of real estate, big fan of real estate investing. Think that in the long term, you're always going to win with real estate as long as you got the right financing terms. So anyhow, that's my spiel. Sunny, thanks for joining. Happy to have you here. Asking, can you get approved for an FHA without a credit score? You can. It's going to be more difficult. It's going to be a manual underwrite, and I probably wouldn't recommend it. Just like I wouldn't recommend a conventional loan without a credit score, because it's the same type of deal. You're just going to have a lot more scrutinized underwrite. You're going to get the worst terms possible. And so it's not really that difficult for somebody who doesn't have a credit score. It's just a matter of opening a few credit lines, allowing those credit lines to start reporting. And as much as some people, even in my industry, in mortgage or real estate, would like to think that, like, you got to buy right now, like, you shouldn't be in that big of a hurry. If you're buying something that's, for most people, the largest investment of your life, whether it's now or 3 months from now, not that big of a deal. So I would say you could, but I wouldn't. It's for house hacking. And I guess it's probably the same thing, right? Like, you could buy a house hack 2 months from now. I would talk to somebody who's a credit expert, have them guide you through, let's open up this secured credit card. Let's open up, this line of credit, or whatever you have to do to get your credit score to report. And even if it's 620, 605, whatever the heck it is, it's going to be light years better than the type of terms you're going to get without a credit score. There you go, Joey. Smash the like button. I appreciate that. You know what I really have to do? And I don't know, do I have to leave myself a note to do this? So many people have like a personalized intro. It's longer than the 30-second one I do. I don't know why that's so important to me, but every time I press play on that little 30-second one that's built into StreamYard, I tell myself, like, do something. Intro. I'm going to talk to my people at U Mortgage about a new intro. And I've got some big news in regards to U Mortgage. I'm probably not ready to tell everybody, but maybe next week. Remind me next week for the big news, Joey. I'll let people know. I appreciate you for having everybody smash the like button. Something's going on with these headphones too. I think I dropped it too many times. You can see all the dents. I back out in my chair. The mic comes with it, hits the ground. And this nice Yeti mic gets banged up. So I don't know. All right. Before we have questions, if anybody wants, this is something I like to do, is on Tuesday, I release a video. So on Monday, before we get a bunch of people popping in and firing off questions. I talk about the video that I just recorded for the next day. I recorded a video today to talk about rent prices and what's going on with rents. Holy guacamole. People I talk to are buying. Real estate agents that I work with are talking about buying. And so the vast majority of my day job is talking about people about becoming homeowners or refinancing the current home they're in. So I don't necessarily think of myself as an expert in the rental market, but every once in a while, I'll take a peek just out of curiosity, right? And I'll tell you what, the stuff I looked at today, I was blown back with what we've seen as far as rental increases. The top 10 metros with the biggest increases in rents, 5 of them were in Florida, and those were anywhere from 26% in Jacksonville to 29% in Tampa. Holy guacamole. Can you imagine rent going up 30%? Can you imagine paying $2,000 one year and $2,600 the year after? That's crazy. Then you've got Riverside, 23%, Phoenix, 21%, Vegas and New York, also 21%, and then Newark, New Jersey, 21%. So those top 10 metros all saw over 20% increase in rent. And what's going to happen, per this article and per my personal beliefs, is we're going to see a spike in rents in the next few months as leases come to an end and the eviction moratorium's over, right? Leases are coming to an end. Landlords who haven't been able to evict tenants can finally evict them. They're going to clean those places up and they're going to jack their rents up. One, because they want to make up for the loss in rent that they missed if tenants weren't paying, or rents have gone up and they haven't turned this unit, meaning someone leaves and a new tenant comes, and so they haven't been able to move the rent, or probably didn't want to, right? During nationwide pandemic, I, as for one, wasn't going to raise rents anywhere. But if you have somebody leave who's currently paying $1,000 a month and market rent on that specific type of unit is $1,300, you're going to raise rents, right? The next people coming in are going to pay close to $1,300. It only makes sense. So, interesting things happen in the rental market. And lately I've been using it just as a comparison because you got to have somewhere to live, right? If you're not buying, you're renting, you've got a housing expense. And still, even though people think that home prices are crazy, nationwide, the average monthly rent is $1,836 a month. Average mortgage, median monthly mortgage payment, $1,494. So not only like almost 20% cheaper, but $342 cheaper per month. The median mortgage payment versus the average monthly rent. Something to chew on, right? All right, Mona, thanks for joining. I appreciate you being back. I appreciate, the loyalty and coming back every week to chat with us. Have a Monday night conversation. Does income levels affect the amount of money available in the margins? I don't know what we're asking here. Does income level affect the amount of money available in the margins? You're going to have to clarify for me, and I don't quite understand. Brandon, what's up, my man? 19 and 25K to invest. That's about 25,000 more than I had when I was 19. So kudos to you there. Should I invest in real estate or something else? Now, here's something that might surprise you. Being somebody who's in mortgage, being a humongous fan of real estate, my answer is not going to be real estate. At 19 years old, your best investment is you, whether that's a course that allows you to craft whatever passion you have, whatever type of business you're in, to where next year you can increase your revenue by 50%, the year after you can increase your revenue by 50%, and so on and so forth. I've got a quote that's been up in my office forever by Jim Rohn, and I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it off of my wall so that I don't screw it up. Your level of success will rarely exceed your level of personal development, because success is something you attract by the person you become. Jim Rohn. So I think anything to do with personal development, Brandon, and I'd be careful too. I wouldn't just, go out and spend it on the first $10,000 conference you see. But if it's coaching or a conference or a business you're trying to start or something like that, I think that is going to yield more than if you plug $25,000 into a real estate deal. Now, with that being said, maybe real estate's your passion, and maybe your first deal is going to be a great way to kind of get your feet wet, get your beak wet, get you excited about real estate, and you're going to learn through that and be able to parlay that into deal number 2, deal number 3, deal number 4. But if you have a current source of income, which you'd need to qualify for a mortgage, or you have a small business that you're running or something that you're passionate about, I think that you might be better served investing that $25,000 either in the business, in yourself, or a combination of the two. Just my 2 cents. You asked, I answered. How are property taxes assessed for new homes? Naya Rand, thanks for joining. For a 1 million new home build in Folsom, will the property tax after close immediately equal home value times 1.254 or just the land value initially? No, as soon as you buy it, it's assessed and based on your purchase price. So in Folsom, which I'm familiar with because I'm shooting this live from Folsom, California, great neighborhood. I live in Sacramento down the street, but from everything I've seen, from all the stuff I've done in Folsom, Nairan, depending on the development, there might be some Mellarus. So you might even get up higher than 1.25, right? It might be 1.254 plus some added Mellarus tax added on. So you might be, 13, 14,000 per year in property tax based on a $1 million purchase. And that's immediate. They should be collecting, prepaid escrows to stuff into your escrow account. If you're going to pay those through the mortgage as you're buying, and then, as soon as you close, when those next installments are due, property taxes to the county, homeowners insurance to the homeowners insurance company, that's going to be paid for out of your escrow account. And there's no free ride. They're getting those right away. Jason, what's up? Is that legal to raise rent so high in one shot? Only if you're turning tenants, right? I was talking about somebody leaving who's paying $1,000, then your new tenant, you're going to charge $1,300. If it's the same, excuse me. If it's the same tenant, you definitely can't, right? You can't take somebody up 30% in one shot. But somebody moves out, you do some rehab to the unit, and then the market rent is $1,300. You charge the next one coming in $1,300. That's perfectly legal, right? So that's the clarification there. Different states have different laws as far as how much you can raise the rent year over year. Some of them are 5 or 6%, right? And so if you got $1,000 rent, you might only be able to go 1050 or 1060, and you have to incrementally increase rent year after year, depending on your state laws. Hi, Matt. Hi, ML. Thanks for joining. Let me respond to my processor real quick. Thinking about refinancing my primary conventional. It's a 4.125. Will my rented out room help me get a decent rate? Your rate has nothing to do with rented out room. Your rate has everything to do with your credit score, your loan amount versus the value, meaning your loan to value, right? And that's really about it, right? If you've got $300,000 loan and a $500,000 property and an 800 credit score, you've got a 60% loan to value and an 800 credit score. That is going to be fantastic terms. If you were thinking that like, hey, if I have more income because I'm renting out a room, does that help my rate? No matter what your income is, if your income is $1 million a year or it's $65,000 a year, if you qualify, you qualify. and you don't extra qualify or qualify more to where you get a lower rate. The rate is only based on loan to value and credit score. That's all. So no extra bonus points, brownies, or discounted rate for making more money. All right, Joey, got to give a shout out to Mike Zuber for his recent React video. You know what? I got to check it out, dude. I watched a little bit of, what's the guy's name? Gosh, I can't remember. But I watched like 5 or 10 minutes where this guy, bless his heart, doesn't make a lot of sense because he basically said that like the monthly payment doesn't have anything to do with affordability. And I'm like, it has a lot to do with affordability. I got to watch Zuber's React video because I'm sure it's great. The guy who was trying to make a point historically about things, kind of like as far as what I listened to, he was showing where like over 40 years, rent payments have gone up very little, right? Like from 1,500 to 1,800, like over a humongous span of time. Isn't that much of an increase, right? And, trying to say that, less and less people are able to buy. I don't know. I don't think he did a very good job of proving his point. But like I said in the start of this video, like I'm watching stuff that I disagree with just to get another perspective because I think that's healthy, right? I don't want to just listen to everybody who agrees with me and only hear one point of view because I might hear something from somebody where, I can say, okay, that's something to consider. That's a point that I haven't looked into. So anyhow, what's the name of that? I can't remember. It's here in my history because I was literally watching it. Oh, there he is. Where'd he go? Reventure Consulting. And I mean, seems like a nice enough guy, right? Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Mortgage rates crash the housing market. Clickbait, right? But who knows? What's up, Miss Taylor? Rent is as bad as it's what's going to look after the eviction process. Yeah, I mean, you're right, Miss Taylor, that now that the eviction moratorium is over, landlords are going to be super, super careful, super strict, and they can because there's so much demand. Just like in a market where there's a ton of buyer demand for property, the seller can sit back and go, hey, listen, I want a high offer. I want free rent back. I want you to waive your appraisal contingency. I want your first kid to be named after me. And they can ask for whatever they want. They're in control because there's so much demand and there's so little supply, right? Landlords are going to have similar type of control, even though in a state like California, it's pretty tenant friendly. But you can get 20 applications and basically say, I want somebody to have 4 times the rent and income. I want somebody to have 720 or higher credit score. I want someone to have, you can set the criteria pretty strict when you have that many people vying for your property. So yeah, it's going to be tough. It's going to continue to get tougher and tougher and more expensive for people in the rental market, which is unfortunate. It's hard. This is a great question, Darren. And delayed financing for anybody who's asking. Investors use this quite a bit. And, delayed financing on a duplex. So you buy a duplex cash, or you may buy it with hard money. You put some money into rehabbing it, then you get the tenants to rent it, and now you want to do a refinance and pull some of that cash out to pay off the hard money lender, to pay off, or pay yourself back if you bought with cash, right? That's considered delayed financing if you do that within 6 months. And the way the lender is going to look at it, Darren, is basically just they'll take those new leases, or they'll even take the market rents when they do an appraisal on the property, because they'll do an appraisal, a 1004, and they'll do a rent survey, which is a 1007. And so they'll look at both of those. They'll give you 75% of those rents. So you've got 2 leases signed for $2,000 a piece, you can use 1,500 of that 2,000, 75% as income, right? Even though they haven't, moved in yet, or you haven't claimed it on your taxes because it's just brand new rental income. Trent, thanks for joining us. Yeah, this was a really cool announcement. United Wholesale Mortgage, for anybody who's a broker like myself, they're a great partner. They've got great loan products. They got great service. They truly are light years ahead of most lenders when it comes to their processes, their speed, and all that other stuff. So the latest and greatest innovation from them is on October 1st. They are going to try to fix what is a really broken appraisal system, right? And currently what one of the biggest problems is you've got appraisers who are in short supply, being able to charge exorbitant fees. And on top of that, you've got appraisal management companies who are taking a fee for themselves. And so the client is going to pay $850 for an appraisal. The AMC takes $200 of that, pays the appraiser $650. The appraiser for that $650 order might take 3 weeks to get it back to the client and the lender, slowing up the lending process, making it hard for everybody. In other markets, I know my lending partners in Nevada, my lending partners in Oregon, they've got to pay $1,000 rush on every single purchase because they're paying $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 just to get appraisal back in 2 weeks. What UWM is going to do is basically, like you said, no longer make brokers use the appraisal management company, because UWM is going to act as the appraisal management company. You're going to place your order through them. They've already signed up 10,000 appraisers, and that was last week. They've probably got another 10,000 already signed up. Their pitch to appraisers is, come sit on our panel. Whatever we collect from the borrower, we're going to pay you 100% of it. So if the borrower pays $850 for an appraisal, the appraiser gets the whole $850. United Wholesale Mortgage is such a giant, doing $240 billion in lending this year, that they can afford to pay 100 people to work inside of this system, assigns appraisals, tracks appraisals, make sure they're getting back on time, make sure the appraisers are getting paid the next day. So appraisers are getting faster, appraisers are getting paid more. Do you think they're going to want to do it for UWM? Yes. Do you think they're going to want to do it fast so they can get more jobs? Yes. So for the end consumer, like you said, Trent, faster closing times? Yes. Lower rates? Doesn't have anything to do with rates. So low rates and fast turn times, UWM already has that handled. But what it's going to do, it's going to be a fair shake for the appraisers who have felt like they're getting shortchanged because the appraisal management company has snuck in $125, $150, $200 middleman fee, right? When it's not really necessary. UWM is cutting that out and saying, listen, we'll lose $20 million a year or whatever it's going to cost them to basically run this program. In return, we're going to get more loans. We're going to get faster appraisal turn times. We're going to get a better experience for the consumer, which means more consumers are going to use us, more brokers are going to broker to us. Everyone's going to win. So I'm excited about it. Most anything that UWM does is to make the broker's job easier and make it better for the end consumer. Because if it's better for the end consumer and it's better for me, if it's better for me, I send more loans to UWM. It's here we go. Which sleeve is it? Proud UWM partner. This is a nice piece of swag that my folks at UWM made for me with the Matt the Mortgage Guy logo. So I'll admit, I'm a fan. They're a great company, the best. Krayler Made, I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for the $5 super chat. All right. Look at you, dude. I'm excited, man. I know for anybody who's self-employed, it's sweat, man, and it's tough. But I'm happy to hear that your loan came out of underwriting. If you're conditionally approved, whatever conditions they're asking of you, make sure you get them to them as soon as possible. If it's already out and you're already like no conditions and you're clear, well then congrats, man, you're in the clear. But CD tomorrow, so that 3-day wait period starts and you can sign and close on Friday. Awesome sauce, man. I'm stoked for you. Congratulations. Let me know if I can help, man. I've always appreciated your support. So if there's anything I can do, just ping me, man. If anything gets squirrely on you, sometimes all somebody needs is 2 or 3 minutes of me saying, you know what, this is normal, all good, everything's gonna be fine. So if it starts to get sideways, can't get a hold of your loan officer, and you're like, you know what, I need someone to calm me down, ping me, matt@themortgageguy.com. Oh, no conditions, clear to go, my man. All right, you're good, man. That's awesome. That's good to hear. Oh, I see what you're saying, Mona. Thanks for clarifying that. So earlier you were asking about if income affects how much lender credit you can receive. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that it does not. On the rate sheet, for anybody who's unclear, you might have an interest rate of 2.875 that costs no money, and then you can buy it down and you can spend an extra 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 to go down to 2.75 or 2.625, whatever it is, right? That's called paying points to get a better rate. You can also receive lender credit by taking a higher rate. So like in Mona's case or her example, take a slightly higher rate to get a lender credit, which this is really common with an FHA loan. You can also do it on conventional. Maybe you take a 3.25 or a 3.375. You get 4,000 or 5,000 in lender credits, which lowers the amount needed for cash to close because it's canceling out some of the closing costs. That's not going to be affected by how much you make, Mona. That rate sheet is only affected by your down payment and your credit score. Kicks out that rate sheet, and it's the same whether you make 200,000 or 42. So good question. And really on FHA, since FHA is a product you're not going to be in for a long time, I recommend structuring it that way. FHA rates are so low that you can still get a 2.75 or 2.875 and get $5,000, $6,000, $8,000 in lender credit, covering most, if not all, of your fees, still having a sub 3% interest rate. Because there's no reason to get a 2.25 FHA when you're going to refinance out of that thing in 2 to 3 years tops. All right, Zeta, another loyal supporter. I appreciate you being here. Thanks for all the support. Is a timeshare the same as a vacation home? My neighbor and her daughter want to get one in Florida. Me and my husband are telling her it seems like a bad idea not to do it. Who's right? Timeshares are generally a bad idea. And there's some things, most things I don't agree with Dave Ramsey on, but if you ask Dave Ramsey about timeshare, and what happens is you get stuck in a contract, and that contract is, oh yeah, you're paying $18,000, but forever you're going to get to vacation, all these luxurious spots, yada, 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 yada. You don't realize they got maintenance fees. And so it's like $250 a month. And you add that up, and you add up the $32,000 you got to pay up front, and you add up this and you add up that, and you're like, holy crap, I'm paying like $4,000 for each one of these vacations. Instead of being stuck in a contract, why don't I just take a $4,000 vacation, which is a nice vacation? I could take it wherever I want, right? So anyhow, I've heard way more stories of I'm trying to get out of this shitty contract than I love my timeshare. That's just me. I'm not an expert on them by any stretch of the imagination, but I would say I'd be very careful. They might just have an agreement with a subservicer. Doesn't mean it's already purchased, but they know who they're going to sell the servicing rights to before they close your loan. In most cases, right? And a lender might have these agreements set up, and for the next 2 years, they're going to sell the servicing to a servicer or a subservicer. It might be like a agreement that's already in place, is my guess. But in general, the last thing anybody needs to worry about when they're getting a mortgage loan is who's going to be servicing it, because most any lender sells servicing. So like if anyone's like, we're going to service your loan and that's why you should use us, it doesn't add any value in my humble opinion. So yeah, I wouldn't sweat it. Muy buenas noches, Basilio. Hope everything is good, my man. Thanks for joining. Quick question for you. I'm buying a distressed house cash this week. Do know of any lender that allow me to do a cash out conventional with 3 months seasoning instead of 6? Most lenders will allow you to do it. The 6-month seasoning is going to be the same with all lenders, where if you're trying to get out all the cash that you used, then you're going to want to wait the 6 months, because the delayed financing rule is that, you buy it for 120,000, you put 30,000 in cash in it. Now it's worth 300. The lender's only going to allow you to cash out up to that 120 that you spent on it. They're not going to allow you to, like you could when you hit the 6-month mark, get it appraised at 300, do a cash out refinance to 225, the 75% loan to value. That's a Fannie Freddie thing. That's not, you're not going to find any lenders that like, oh, we do 3 instead of 6 months, because it's a Fannie Freddie rule. So it's a guideline for conventional loans where you got to wait 6 months before you can use the new appraised value, which I think is the question you're asking. Six months, it goes by quick, man. Wait it out. You'll be all right. You get much better terms and you're able to do like a full burr, right? Because you're not going to be able to get all your capital if you got some rehab in there along with the cash purchase, unless you do wait that 6 months. So, all right, we're talking about rents. $1,280 a month, 2-bed, 1.5 bath. Whereabouts is that one at? It'd be interesting to hear people's rents across the country, what their rents are. I forget. I don't look at it for a while. Then I look up and people start telling me stories about nasty parts of Sacramento with $2,600 a month rent. I'm like, what? In North Highlands? $2,650? Out your mind. So yeah, I'd be interested to hear, because I don't dig into rents that often. All right, Jabiz, thanks for joining. First time home buyer in LA. It's a few months I'm looking. I still couldn't buy a house in my budget I like. Do I buy property that I'm okay living there now and change it in a few years? That's exactly what I would do. And this is exactly what the conversation I have with buyers is one, in a market as competitive as this one, if you really want to buy something, you're going to have a lot better chance buying something that's an ugly duckling, for lack of a better term, right? Because all the stuff with granite countertops and that's rehab and just beautiful and pristine, everybody else's wife and girlfriend already walked through there and got so excited and was like, we got to buy it, honey. We got to do it. I love it. It's perfect. And so that's the ones that are listed at $499 and get bid up to $550. You find something that's got carpet, it's got railing, it's got the same people that have lived there since 1971, and they haven't done anything. Even the wallpaper is the same. Like, that's the one where you come in, you offer $485, because nobody likes that ugly duckling. You can do most of those small cosmetic repairs fairly easily if there's not any major issues. And one, you probably get a better deal because you do a few things and it's worth $530. And two, it's not your forever home, right? I would, if I was a first-time buyer, and this is what I recommend to first-time buyers I work with and talk to, look through the eyes of an investor when you're buying your first primary home. Because if you're an investor or an aspiring investor or future investor, the best way to buy investment property is to buy a primary, live in it for 2, 3, 5 years, move out into your next home and make that first one that you lived in an investment property. One, you get the best terms because if you're not aware, you buy an investment property, you pay a higher interest rate, you got to put a bigger down payment down. But if you bought it as a primary, you might put 3% down on this primary, live in it, watch it appreciate, move out, put 5% down on your new primary, turn that old one into investment property. And now you've got two properties, your old one's being paid for by the new tenants and continue to appreciate. Your tenants are paying down the mortgage, all that good stuff. Right. So, yeah, I like buying something not so nice and upgrading. It's definitely a better plan than trying to find the perfect home right off the bat, especially if it's your first one. You're just not going to be there that long. I guess it depends, Kraler made on that 8,700, right? Because people sometimes are like, oh my gosh, 8,700 seems like a lot. Within that whole basket, which people consider closing costs, you've got lender fees, title fees, prepaid property taxes, and homeowners insurance, interest, all kinds of stuff, right? So the only real box you want to look at to kind of figure out like, hey, did I pay a lot in closing costs is box A. And so when you get that CD tomorrow, look at box A. My guess is if it's 8,700 total, like that box A shouldn't be more than like 3,000. But yeah, if you mentioned here too that you got a great rate, 2 years of credit history. If your credit score was 700 and you paid half a point plus, a $1,000 lender fee or something, I don't think you necessarily got taken to the cleaners. But yeah, it's hard to tell without knowing all the details, right? If it's a place where like property taxes are super expensive and 4,500 or 5,000 of that 8,700 was taxes and insurance and the setup of the escrow account, then maybe you paid even less in box A. Kevin Hawthorne, what's up? What's up, man? Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Also, you might find this interesting. I paid $25,000 over ask to get my property. By the time the appraisal happened 6 weeks ago, the value appreciated to be exactly my purchase price. Yeah, and like you said, in 2021, that's a feat in itself. Oh, this is some good advice, and this is why I like having multiple people on here. So Mona, who knows more about timeshares than I do, telling Zeta, who's asking about timeshares, that if they insist on buying a timeshare, tell them to shop the resale market. So these are people trying to get out of their timeshares, offering them at a discount. It's a really, really good recommendation here, Mona. I appreciate you putting this here. I never heard of this, but it sounds awesome. And like most things, you buy it secondhand from somebody else, you buy it in the resale market, I'm sure you get a hefty discount. So good advice. I like it. Tug Timeshare Marketplace. Huh. The first and largest timeshare website on the internet. Oh, I think it's tug2.net. Oh, the truth about timeshares. Huh. Source of consumer-oriented information and advice. Okay, that's pretty cool. I like that. Thanks, Mona. All right, Kraler. So if you buy a primary, live in it for 5 years, convert to a rental. Yeah. Yep. It's exactly how it works. I mean, and not trust me, I know people that do it. You buy a primary this year, you buy an investment property 14 months from now. I'm sorry, new primary 14 months from now. And you want to upgrade. It's a primary. The new one's a primary. So You can put 5% down on the next one. You keep the great rate on the first one. I can tell you that certain people I've worked with, certain, ethnic groups where like their family thing is like, we're going to buy investment property. We believe in real estate. And I wouldn't even necessarily say it's constrained of like one specific ethnic group. I know multiple ones that like they pass this on from generation to generation where they're like, buy your first house. We'll give you a gift to buy at age 21 and then continue to work. We're going to help you buy a house at age 23 and 25 and 27. I dealt with people who bought 5 houses in their 20s doing exactly this, Kraler, where it was like an incremental upgrade every single time, but it was a primary every time. And it's completely legal. It's as long as you're genuinely moving into a new primary, it's a primary loan. You don't have to change the terms on your last loan just because you moved your primary. All right, Jason. In reference to Jabi's turned down a multifamily for sale on my block because it had a bit of work. Oh, shoot. Yeah, so don't be afraid of a little bit of a fixer, Jabbies. Jump on that bad boy. Fix it up. Get to see the appreciation instead of Jason on the sidelines with a tissue and some tears. All right, closing on a new home. Congratulations, Bella Kiki. My wife ended up paying a lump sum into principal payment of our home mortgage. Would this be bad to underwriters when they review our mortgage statement? No, they'll just ask for an explanation. Where did it come from, right? And you'll show them. Hopefully it wasn't funds that were meant for the purchase of this new home. And part 2, the plot thickens. Wife is not on the current home mortgage loan. All right, well, yeah, they're going to ask for an explanation. So it shouldn't be an issue, though. You should be fine. Modic, something is wrong with YouTube. 34 watching with 11 likes. I mean, now I show 48 watching. If we don't have more than 11 likes, I'll shut this thing down. I really wouldn't, but it sounded good, right? 49 watching is what it says. Let me see. Oh, now I see 23 likes. So maybe we're doing better. Getting close to 9,000 subs. You know what we're also coming up on is 1 million views. Got like 980,000 lifetime views. That's pretty cool. So go ahead and everybody watch like every video that I made at least once. There's like 500 of them. Let's get to 1 million views. All right. Box A was $11.95 on the loan estimate. $345 processing. Oh, that's all? That's good, man. And so the other 7,500 was all title, prepaid tax and insurance, interest. And so yeah. Gotta yeah, lender's title insurance 1789 and a lot of times too that's split. So I guess we're in a competitive real estate market, right? And so you didn't want to like write an offer where the seller's paying for fees with the risk of not getting accepted, but every state's different. In California, more often than not, the title insurance, the escrow fee are split between buyer and seller, so you wouldn't pay that whole thing, but it is a little expensive. But if you would have shopped, a couple $100 to save, like I wouldn't sweat it now. All in all, man, you did good. You got a home that's appraised for what you bought it for, 2.875 on a 30-year fixed, self-employed, young dude, crushing it. You're in a good spot, man. Congrats. All right. You're at the step where you're looking for a great mortgage broker. I was going to wait until next week to say something about this, but for anybody who knows, that I've referred folks to U Mortgage, I'm making a move. And I'm going to say it quietly, but I don't think it's going to necessarily make a difference. Current broker I'm working for knows this, understands this, supports me. And one of the things that I'm going to get to do with this move is add licensing in all 50 states. I'm not going to be able to do it right away, Kev, but if you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, I set that up to funnel into U Mortgage because I know them, like them, trust them, and they'll find somebody who's licensed in that state. They'll take good care of you. I promise they'll take good care of you because they're bringing on one of the best in the biz, and they want to do everything in their power to treat me right. So greatmortgagebroker.com. Let's see. You know what I should do? I should put it in the chat. Greatmortgagebroker.com. Fill this out. Anybody who I've referred here has had nothing but nice things to say about U Mortgage. So my thought is fill that out for now. If it ends up being 6 months from now, I might be your guy. If you do it in the next couple months, it might be somebody else at U Mortgage who's licensed in that state. So that's that. I mean, usually you can do quite a bit of research on Google, right? Best mortgage brokers in Wisconsin or even in your county, like great mortgage broker in blank county, right? And the ones that are doing the most business, have the most online reviews, all that stuff, they have a reputation to protect. They're usually the best, right? Ones that you can't find online, like that always blows my mind. Someone's like impossible to find online. And sometimes someone will be shopping me and say, oh, so-and-so down in Irvine told me this or told me that. And then you Google that specific loan officer's name / mortgage broker / mortgage. They're nowhere to be found. And the risk for the consumer is like, there's no reputation to protect. Right. And so that's the problem with working with Quicken and somebody in a call center is like, they can lie to you. They can do whatever they want. And there's really nothing to lose on their side. I've worked way too hard for way too long with way too good of a reputation to mess it up. Harminder, best interest rate you can get, excellent credit history. 30-year fixed, 1.75. Does 2.75 on 30-year fixed good? Yeah, it's good as long as you're not paying a bunch of fees. And here's the thing that I've pounded into folks time and time and time again. It's not just interest rate. It's interest rate and cost for that interest rate. So if you got a 2.75 with very little cost, good. If you've got a 2.25, but it costs $19,000, it's a terrible loan. And so you want to look at both. And I've got a video out there that says like the only way to shop or something to that effect. But box A has lender fees, and those lender fees and the interest rate are the only variables that matter. All the other title fees, all the interest, all the other things on a loan estimate are absolutely irrelevant. It's going to be the same no matter who you work with. Be aware of flashy lenders. Like my buddy Jeb Smith put out a video today on the 1.75% interest rate. And that's why I mentioned it, because lenders are currently and will continue to put a flashy interest rate out there as an advertising tool and say 1.75% on a 30-year fixed. And then you call them and you want the 1.75% rate and it costs you $28,000. This was Jeb's example on a $400,000 loan. And so that's not the type of loan you want. You don't want to pay $28,000 to save $200 a month. Trust me, it's a very long and hard road to break even. So 2.75 with low cost is good. Frederick, why are you watching and don't like it? Are you serious? Well, not everyone likes it. Probably they're waiting to see if they like it, right? They want us to hear a little bit more from this Matt guy to see if they like it. At least they didn't dislike it, Frederick. I'd rather have 35 people like it, no dislikes, than someone be like, all right, Frederick, you're really pressing me. You want to know yay or nay? And they just smash that dislike. I appreciate it, Frederick. You know what's a funny story is I was talking earlier about watching content from somebody I disagreed with just to get another perspective. And I went on there and it just is like um, something I do. I watch a lot of YouTube and there's a lot of cool stuff on YouTube. And I went to his video and before I even start watching, I like it. It's just like a habit I have where I'm hitting the like button before I even see the content. It's very, you got to be putting out some really serious trash for me to dislike something. Because even the stuff I disagree with, like you said, if you're putting out content and you're spending time, effort, and energy on it, I'm probably going to like it just to say, good on you for putting some out there. All right. Zeta. You want to know something funny, Zeta? I've had this YouTube channel for like 7 years now. And don't do it now, but later, once the live is over, if you want to go back and watch some old stuff, somebody today sent me a 7-year-old video of me and my now 8-year-old when he was 1 in my arms in front of an open house. But I was saying like, hey, come check out this open house. And my little guy, Ethan, was just super, super cute and excited and happy like he's always been. And so, yeah, it's been 7 years, Zeta. And if you were to see inside my analytics, I spent years and years and years just making educational content. And I really wasn't trying to gain subscribers, gain views. I was just kind of indexing and creating a library of educational content that I could send to real estate agent partners, I could send to consumers, because my goals were just to create a library of content on questions I got asked over and over again. And so it wasn't until 2020 that somebody told me, hey, you should probably have a little strategy behind it. Start creating content with a little bit of a strategy. Start creating titles that are going to show up in search more often. Start creating a thumbnail for every video. And you'll see some of my past videos, super, super niche type stuff that nobody's freaking searching. And because of that, and because that I wasn't trying to do anything in terms of subscribers, you can go all the way back and let me see. It was like 2014. I mean, I was adding 0 subscribers every day. Let me see if I can look at the live count, lifetime. I had like, for the first couple of years, I had 7 subscribers. And then in 2016, I had 14 subscribers. 2017, I had like 50 subscribers. And then 100 and something. And then in 19, 400 and something. Let me see if you can zoom. Control. I'll share this. This is kind of cool. Since you asked, Zeta, this shows you like the history, right? So this is like subscribers. Nobody's watching. I've probably at this point in 2017 made like 100 videos. And I've got 74 subscribers. And then in 2019, I've made a couple hundred videos and it's like, oh, okay. This guy's got some stuff, 400 subscribers. Then in 2020, it was like March. I guess it was pandemic, right? And a buddy was like, 1, you've got more than 1,000 subscribers, monetize. 2, start kind of having a regular schedule when you put content out. 3, specific titles. 4, thumbnail, whatever it is. And then bam, look at this. Exponential growth. Bam. Skyrocket. Oh, look at that. New subscriber. 89.92. So we're going to hit 9,000 next month. By the end of October, hopefully hit 10K. And should be Where is, oh, look at that. 981,000 views. Pretty cool, huh? All right. I'm not going to quit my day job. Made 9,500 lifetime in ad revenue, which is not going to replace my mortgage income. I can promise you that. All right. Interesting question. I appreciate it. Thanks for following me along that, blast to the past. When buyers want to purchase a fixer, how bad can the property be to qualify for financing? This is a great question, Al. For conventional financing, if it's cosmetic, it's not going to be a problem. Where you run into problems if there's, severe health and safety issues, or if there's, foundation problems, no go. Lender's not going to finance it. Roof is has to be replaced right away. Lender's going to force that to be repaired before you can finance it. But besides that, it can be in a certain level of disrepair as long as it's not serious health and safety stuff, and as long as the foundation's not crumbling, the roof's not caving in. So you just want to look for a cosmetic fixer, and they're all over the place, right? Carpets are ugly, walls are ugly, maybe the layout is funky, maybe landscaping sucks, whatever it is. Those are the properties people are just like, I'm selling it as is, or somebody passed away and it's the people who inherit it that are selling it and they don't want to put in the work to fix it up or get it market ready. Those are going to be financeable, and in general, a lot better deal. Do all lenders let you prepay principal? Yeah, for sure. Most all lenders now do. There's no prepayment penalty, so you can prepay the principal. Go check out, I made a video, Harminder, and it was a popular video, but I still got some hate for it because people were like, why would you prepay with rates this low? And they really started, I don't know, people on the internet are tough. They're tough out there. Pay off mortgage, Matt the mortgage guy. No. Oh. Pay mortgage at the mortgage guy. Mortgage. I don't know. Just go watch every single video I've ever put out, and it's in there somewhere. Where was it? I don't know. I don't want to waste your time looking through my channel, but it's in there on paying extra principal. Because yeah, you'd be surprised how you can tweak that amortization schedule by paying some extra payments. Resource-based channels like yours can take a few years of creating videos with no results. Yes, sir. A view machine that can't be stopped. Yeah, for a few months this year, I was getting like 120,000 views a month, which was pretty darn cool. You got a really cool channel, Kraler. I wonder if these last few months have slowed down for you. Is it just because I've been too busy with mortgage and my content stinks that mine's been slowing down? But I think I only got like 50 or 60,000 views in the last couple months. So I'm slowing down for one reason or another. And I'm thick-skinned, man. So if it's that I'm not as good as I was in April and May, that's okay. I'm seeing more inventory in the market. Is this going away anytime soon? Who knows, right? What I'm honestly seeing, Zeta, is like another wave of super motivated buyers. So a little bit more inventory came to market, and then I've just got like, maybe it's like bounce back buyers where they were in the market, they got beat out, they took a little break, little hiatus on the sidelines, and now they're back and like, okay, we're ready. Because as much as I'd love to say and see things selling at list price or below list price and things kind of easing up, I'm seeing it be competitive as heck. Like, I hate to say that because I want it to be easier. But we shall see. These next few months should be interesting. Whatever that realtor.com article that I referenced in my YouTube live today was, it said between September 12th and October 17th. That's when the deals are there to be had. So we'll see if they were lying or not. For the person who asked about property taxes for a new build home, taxes catch up. I'm not sure if I concur with that. Property taxes catch up 2 years after purchasing the home. When someone buys a home in California, we're basing the property taxes on the purchase price. And so we're setting up the escrow accounts to pay taxes based on purchase price. So there's no catch up from what I've seen. Just a little bit of mustard. Get it? God. Let's stick to mortgage, no comedy. Is it more difficult for a first-time home buyer to purchase either a halfplex or duplex instead of buying a detached SFR? It's similar type qualifying, to be honest. The duplex might even be easier because you're able to use the rents on the second half of the duplex. And so, buying a duplex that's apples for apples, 500,000 and the single family's 500,000, you might be, I say might, but definitely able to qualify easier on the duplex because you could use rents to offset. But no, it's similar. It's similar type of qualifying where it's just a debt to income ratio thing. Somebody told me last week not to yawn, so I'm going to try not to, but these Mondays are long. How do you qualify income someone who's currently on paid family leave? This is a great question. I've had plenty of buyers that are paid family leave or some sort of leave for having a baby or spouses having a baby. You can qualify with that income. We can use that income, or you can show back to work full-time, full pay October 15th, and then, get in contract, show the first pay stub back to work and be good there. So, I don't know. I think that just from a advice perspective, you might want to be back to work full-time, full pay before you buy, just be, aside from qualifying, just to have a little bit of peace of mind with what's coming in monthly and whatnot. So that's that. All right. Any suggestions on what I should do in preparation for an appraisal? Not too much. And people are probably putting too much emphasis on like preparing their house for a refi appraisal than is needed. And trust me, I've got clients that all the time are like, okay, I'm going to schedule it for 2 weeks max. I want to redo the bathroom. I don't want to do this. I want to do that. The appraiser is going to come out and look at like comparables that everything that's sold. And they're not going to look at your bathroom and be like, oh my gosh, there's towels on the ground, like minus 10,000 there. Or look and be like, wow, she dusted the coffee table. Looks like he put up a few new picture frames in here. It's looking nice. Up 15,000 there. It's just the weight is on comparable sales. Same size, same age, same condition-ish, right? So don't spend too much time and energy with that is my best advice. This is the link you were looking for. All right, Mona, what'd you find? Is this the one for paying extra principal? Here it comes. All right. We got another one in contract down in Menifee, California. Congrats. Hopefully it's someone who's on this. I had to respond real quick. All right. Where'd it go, Mona? I was waiting for you. It was on you. I tagged you in to take over the live stream. That's a good question, Zeta. Does staging a house get you that much more money than not staging a house? Do you think it's worth it? I think it is, and I think that, well, it probably depends on the area, depends on the market, depends on the type of house, right? Like a really nice house with really nice staging, I think kind of help a house sell. And if it's the difference between 950 and 970 and you spent $4,000 or $5,000 on staging, then it's an easy, of course, right? You got a 400% ROI. On a house that's 230,000, do you want to spend 4,000 on staging? Maybe not, right? I'd probably defer to a real estate agent because that's really their side of things. I've seen really good looking staging, and realtors that I work with have quite a bit of success with it. So if you were to ask me to answer yes or no, I'd say yes on staging. Final answer. For sure, it's possible to get lender credits to help pay for closing costs, and all it is, so that and anybody else knows, is taking a slightly higher rate to get lender credit. So if you're doing an FHA loan and you can get a 2.25, but the lender says, look, 2.625, you get 5,500 in lender credit, then you can set it up that way. And the difference is you pay 2.625 instead of 2.25 on the interest rate. So the payment is up by $85 a month, but you get that 5,500 in lender credit to cover most of the closing costs. So anyhow, that's how that works. Oh yeah. You know what? I guess I could have mentioned that, right? I just defaulted to like, you want to get the house ready. This is for sure in California, and I don't know about other states, but you want to make sure that you have carbon monoxide smoke detectors in every room, and your hot water heater double strapped, because if not, they'll have to come out and do a reinspection on your refinance. So thank you again. Where I drop the ball, my people will be picking me up. So in preparation for refi, Jason, this is good advice. Make sure that smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, and the hot water heater is double strapped. Very, very good advice. All right, let's get in a couple last questions. I'm going to cut this thing off. I've had a long day. I'm very tired. Appreciate the heck out of you, so I want to answer as many questions as possible. But I got to get home. Should everyone get flood insurance after New York flooding and all? I guess it depends on where you're at. Like in California, there's not many places where I think it's necessary. There's some places where it's mandatory. You have to have it. For me, I probably wouldn't ever need or want to get flood insurance. But yeah. All right, Al, you want to know how much a mortgage broker earns. Um, and it varies, but here's what I'll tell you. Like you said here, agents make 2.5 on most sales before their fees and splits, right? A mortgage broker generally makes between 1 and 2% of the loan amount. And that's before broker fees, processor fees, staff that has to get paid. You know, as a guy who runs a team, I've got 6 full-time staff. And so there's, wages, there's marketing, there's office, ton of stuff. Some setups have you paying a broker fee. You got a processor who's got to get paid. There's a lot of stuff that's got to get paid. So, the bottom line is not going to be that, but the top line is going to be, anywhere between 1.5%, 2%. And then, minus expenses and all that. So that's the gist of it. It's going to vary. I'm paying extra principal on my mortgage, which is more than my monthly payment. Should I continue to do so? That's a good question. It depends on what your goals are. Some people are dead set on getting their house paid off, and chunking big extra principal payments on it will definitely allow you to do that. Some would tell you not to. Some would tell you to, put that money aside, invest it in who knows what, low cost mutual funds or low cost index funds. I don't know. Other people, think that the money should be saved and invested in more real estate. I don't know. So I guess it really truly depends on what your goals are. If you're 4 months from retirement and you really want to have your house paid off when you retire, because that's going to allow you to, have some more peace of mind, then go for it. Right. There's no real right answer for this. So if your goal is to pay the house off, then you're doing it right. If you got other goals and you want to do something else, then maybe you can reassess, but it's certainly not a bad thing. What's the danger of putting a lot of money down at first instead of closing? Refers to down payment. I'm thinking that your question is like a big earnest money versus putting it at the closing. That's what I think the question is. You might have to clarify for me. Home equity line of credit, Harminder. It really depends. The thing about those is they're adjustable rate more often than not. I've seen some of them where they have like a smaller rate for the first 6 months and then it increases. So when you ask if they're cheaper, maybe it starts at 2.5, but then it goes to 3.5, and then it can adjust from there. So then it would be more expensive. They're cheaper to get. There's not as many fees involved with getting it. So there's that. But as far as interest rate goes and total cost of capital, they might be more expensive. Depending on what you're trying to do, go side by side. Home equity line versus cash out refinance and compare them. I've done that for plenty of clients. If they're going to do a home equity line, I'm referring my buddy George. If they're going to do a cash out refinance, I help them. But different goals, different structures, different game plans require different loan products and types. So not a one size fits all. more appraisal advice. If you have an unpermitted kitchen, then you want to hide. You want to hide the unpermitted kitchen you have in your garage. Okay, so yes, earnest. I guess the danger of that is if for some reason you remove contingencies and then you're at risk of losing your earnest money deposit. I don't think you want to put a bigger earnest money deposit than you have to, right? Wouldn't make sense to do a $20,000 earnest money deposit when you could just do a $5,000 earnest money deposit. So that's my best advice there. Oh, it's not letting you post a link, Mona? That's jacked up. Well, maybe after, YouTube, I guess for good reason, right? It's like blocking people from posting links. But I appreciate you trying to. You're trying to Trying to post. There we go. Is it extra principal payments? Is that the one? I just found it. Pay off your mortgage fast. It'll let me post it, I think. Boom. There you go. There's the link for that. Thanks for joining, Harminder. I appreciate you being here. Pay less interest on your mortgage. Pay less. Oh, see, I got a couple different ones. Pay less interest. Oh, good one, huh? Jeez Louise. This one's got a lot of views. All right. No, that velocity video is a good one too. There's some good videos on this channel. So this one, the top link I did was one about extra principal payments. This one is extra principal payments and said in a different way. Look up velocity, velocity on my channel too. Let me try to answer a few questions before I jump off of here. Yes, generally slightly higher, depending on how much you're putting down. All right, last question, then I'm out. Buying a new build, which will be ready in summer 2022. I initially planned for 5% down. Now I think it might be able to put 10. Is one better than the other? Lower mortgage insurance and a slightly lower payment. Whether or not that's more important to you or the 5% in your bank, you got to decide. And I think that, that's something that you should look at and say, okay, I feel better with $30,000 more in the bank, or should I put it towards this purchase? And now my payment is $150 less per month. Which one is more important to you? And really, you're the only one that can answer that. Plenty of clients who I talk to, the money in the bank gives them more peace of mind than having a slightly lower mortgage payment. They've got a great secure job. They continue to get raises and they feel like the payment's going to be comfortable either way. So they're not worried about saving $150 a month. Others are like, I'm going to put this $30K now because I don't want to, have my payment be $2,100. $1,950 sounds so much better. And I can stack up my reserves or whatever. So I don't know. To each their own. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate each and every one of you who got on here tonight. Sorry for my yawning. I apologize. I'm going to try to do that less. Let me know if you have any good ideas for next week, things we can talk about. In the meantime, between time, go check out some of the content as we shared in some of these links. There's lots of good videos on there. At least a few of those 500 videos should provide you value. So thanks again. Bye-bye.